Hi guys, today we are doing lesson 16 problem set together. I'd like you to look at your paper and let's read the instructions together. It says estimate to equally partition, that just means to draw lines, and label, see the labels here, the unit fractions on the number line. Label the holes as fractions and box them. The first one's done for you. Notice that this number line starts at 0 and it goes to two holes, okay? Um, in order to show 1/2 on this number line, we need to equally partition it. So just looking at 0 and 1, where would the half fall? It would fall right there. So that is equally partitioned between 0 and 1 hole. 1 hole is 2 halves, okay? And then between the 1 hole and 2 hole, you also have 1/2. And if this is 1/2, and if 2 halves are 1 hole, the next divider line would be 3 halves and then 4 halves. So this is what you're going to do on your own, okay? Notice that this number line starts at 1 and ends at 2. We need to equally partition this into thirds, okay? In order to partition this into thirds, we need to know that 3/3 equals 1 whole. You're not starting at 0/3 because you're not at 0 on the number line. You're starting at 3/3, okay? And let me show you how this works. So between 1 and 2, we're going to make this into thirds. 1, 2, 3. So that looks like thirds. If this is 3/3, the next part on the number would be 4/3, 5/3, and 6/3. What does that tell you? 6/3 equals 2. Okay? Let's try another one. We're going to just keep doing it until we get it. This is 1/2, okay? So let me give you a little hint. Always look at where your number line's starting. It's starting at 2, and it's ending at 4. We need to split this into halves, so we're going to equally mark out the place between the two whole numbers as half of space between, okay? This is 2 halves. Really, is it 2 halves? Think about what comes before this. Think about what comes before this. If this 2 whole is twice the denominator in the numerator, then we need to have this be twice the numerator as well. So in order for this to be proven correct, this has to be 4 halves. Now let's go back up and look. If we have 1/2 on this number line, we know that 4 halves equals 2. What's another way of showing that? Let me show you. Oh, let's not do it that way. Let me show you a different way. Remember when I told you that this fraction bar is also division bar? So 4 divided by 2 equals how many whole? 2 whole. Okay? We could also show this as factors. Let me show you that. 2 is the denominator. And what two numbers multiply together to make 4? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. That equals 1 whole. That equals 1 whole. That equals 2 whole. Okay? All right. So let's move on to the next try. I mean, don't worry if you don't get it this time. You will get it when we're in class. Scroll on down here. Okay. So continuing with between 2 and 4, we have 4 halves starting at 2 whole. What would be the next one? 5 halves. What would be the next partition? 6 halves equals 3. Let's check that. Is 6 divided by 2 3? Yes, it is. 7 halves and 8 halves. And you want to always box the ones that are whole numbers. Box the whole numbers. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay. So this is in fourths. This whole number is 3. This is not marked, and this is 5. What is this number going to be? 3, 4, 5. Okay? So let's talk about what this is going to be. We know that the denominator is going to be fourths because the part of the number, the beginning part says it's in fourths. It's telling us that it's in fourths. However, 3, we have 3 whole. How many fourths are in 3 whole? Let me show you it another way. Let's say we have 3 whole figures here, and they're all broken into fourths. How many fourths are there? There's 4, 8, 12. 12 fourths is 3 whole. 3 whole figures. Okay? We need to split the fourths into fourths. So let's equally divide between 3 and 4 into fourths. And then between 4 and 5, let's divide that into fourths as well. If this is 12 fourths, what's the next number going to be? 13 fourths. Oh, sorry, not 14. Erase that, kids. You can laugh now if you want. This would be 14 fourths. This would be 15 fourths. Oh, here we come with another whole number. Let's talk about this for a minute. One more figure, one more whole split into fourths would be how much? 4, 8, 12, 16 fourths. 16 fourths would be right there on the number line. 16 divided by 4 equals how many wholes? 4 wholes. 16 fourths, so the next one would be 17 fourths. 18 fourths. 19 fourths. And then we're at another whole number. What do you think the next one's going to be? This is 19 fourths, so this has to be 20 fourths. Okay? I think you're starting to get it now, don't you? All right, this last one, oh, it's really hard to see, so I'm going to pause you. Okay, this is in thirds, but we're starting with 6, and we're ending in 9. 6 whole and 9. So let's first put in the wholes. What comes after? How many are between 6 and 9? 6, 7, 8, 9. So the first thing we need to do is mark out the whole numbers on there and write them. 6, 7, 8, 9. Each one of these sections between 6 and 7 is in thirds. So let's also do that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? If we had 6 figures that were in thirds, what would be our fraction? We know that it's thirds. Another way you can figure this out, you can draw pictures if you want. You can draw 6 figures divided into thirds and count the spaces. Or you can take the number 6 times the denominator of 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So this is going to be 18 thirds. What will be the next number? 19 thirds, 20 thirds, and then the next whole number would be 21 thirds. 21 divided by 3 equals 7, and guess what? 7 times 3 is 21. Are you seeing a pattern here? You should. This is 22 thirds. This is 23 thirds. What's our next one going to be? You're right. It's going to be 24 thirds. And you want to box 24 thirds. Okay, let's check. 24 divided by 3 equals 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. So do you see that fractions are and can be figured out using multiplication and division? So it's nothing you don't know how to do already. 25 thirds, 26 thirds, and what is the last one? 27 thirds. Let's check. Is 27 divided by 3 9? Yes, it is. And 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, so let's look at the back of the page. You have partition each whole into 5-unit fractions. Label each fraction, count up as you go, box the whole number, box the fraction that are located at the same points as the whole number. So this fraction, this one does, hold on just a minute, let me just move it over a tiny bit so we can work with it. There we go. This fraction or number line does start with 0, and they want us to use 5-unit fractions, so they want this to be in fifths, okay? So we know that this is going to be 0/5, and the whole number is here, so we need 5 spaces between 0 and 1. So let's go ahead and mark those out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 would be the whole number. Pretend like you only have between 0 and 1, okay? Now we're going to take a look at between 1 and 2 and do the same thing. So between 1 and 2, we need 5 spaces. Actually, remember what I told you? You always use you count the last one as your 5th space. So you only need 4 in between. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last space is 5. Okay, so if this is 0/5, what would be your first one? 1/5. Your second one would be 2/5. And now I would like for you to finish this whole thing all the way to the end. Come in tomorrow with this completed. Just keep counting the fifths. Box them when you get to the whole number. Show them on the top. And box them. Your denominator is not going to change. Only the numerator will change. They want to partition this into 3-unit fractions, which means that is thirds. I'm going to get you started, and you're going to do the same thing. Finish it up on your own. So between 1 and 2, you need 1, 2, 3, 3 spaces. So you're going to do the same thing. Don't count the 2. You're counting after the 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay? And then you continue to do it from there. Sorry about that. I just had a phone call. So where were we? Okay, between 1 and 2, you need to mark it in thirds. Between 2 and 3, mark it in thirds. And between 3 and 4, mark it in thirds. You know that if the denominator is 3 and this is 1 whole, what can you tell me about this number? It's going to be what over what? What's going to be in the numerator? Think about it for a minute. Write it down if you know. And it should be 3/3. And I'd like you to continue to do this one on your own. Okay? On the bottom it says draw a number line with endpoint 0. I do not like this number line. Hold on just a second. Be patient with me. Let me get a straight number line. Hey, how about that? Don't you wish you had one of those tools at home? All right, so here it is. We have a 0 and a 3. It says label the holes. 0, 1, 2, 3. This would be 1, that would be 2. Partition each hole into 4-unit fractions. So between 0 and 1, you need fourths. Okay? Between 1 and 2, you need fourths. Between 2 and 3, you need fourths. Okay? Then you're going to label all the fractions between 0 and 3. You need to write kind of small because in fourths it's going to look Yeah, you're going to have lots of fractions labeled here. Okay? All right, bring it back tomorrow and we will review in class. Hopefully you got that. Talk to you tomorrow.